Wish TV is proud to honor teachers in Central Indiana
She is an inspiration to all of us.
He's always smiling.
who go above and beyond,
He's done so many things for so many people.
He's inspirational.
making a difference,
He's always taught me to believe in myself and never get down on myself.
Everybody's biggest cheerleader.
and deserving of recognition for their outstanding efforts in
I
education.
love the people that I work with, and to know that I've made an impact on somebody's life, it is truly a great honor.
It's an honor. I love what I do, and the kids are the ones who make it work. I'm like just so taken aback because I love them so much. The fact that, they love me just as much just means a lot. Sorry, you're going to have to cut that part out.
And you are our winner.
Oh, thank you so much.
From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Golden Apple Awards podcast.
Hi, Hannah Mordeau here. November's winner is Miss Catherine Duda. You heard all about her on Wish TV already. She's a family and consumer science teacher at Westfield High School, teaching kids the skills they can use for life. The surprise was so fun. She thought we were pranking her. We were not. It was really fast too, though, so we wanted to get to hear from her a little bit more. So I brought her back here on the podcast. Miss Catherine Duda, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
I'm excited to have you, and I appreciate you taking the time because you're in the middle of class right now. And so if we hear any students or they stop by, that's what's going on.
Yes.
So your surprise aired yesterday on Wish TV. What's been the feedback?
I have just been overwhelmed with the amount of love that I have been getting from everyone, not only from like my family members. I sent it to everyone in my family, but also just my coworkers and my friends as well, who live out of state 'cause I'm from Illinois. And so even, my people in Illinois were watching it, and every coworker here at Westfield has just been so great and congratulating me. And it's been amazing. It really has.
I love to hear that. And you are so deserving.
Thank you.
The kids obviously were really shocked when we bombarded into your classroom. What have they been saying today?
They actually, the next day, they were like, Miss Duda, are you sure you didn't know about that? They were convinced that I knew about it. I said, guys, I did not know about that. My tears were actually real. That was a genuine surprise. But they just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so they thought it was cool too that, it happened during their third period. And so it was a cool experience that we shared. Yeah.
I love that. It's always like wild in the moment. You never know what you're going to walk into. And it was funny because you were right there at the door and you're like, wait, what? Are you pranking me? I loved that your parents made the trip too. And
yes.
I'm glad it didn't give it away though, because you usually kind of know where they're at in their phones and stuff.
I did. Yes. Well, and that's why I knew something was up because my mom turned off her location and my mom never does that. And so I'm like, but I had no inkling, no thought that they would be in Indiana doing this. So it was amazing. And I'm really glad that my best friend reached out to my parents and, they were there to see that in person. So
I'm glad too. It sounds like you're really close with them.
Yes.
Are they educators, or how did you kind of think about getting into teaching?
Yeah, so they are not educators, actually. I went to culinary school right after high school, and I loved cooking. I loved culinary school, but I kind of wanted to just do something more with it. The restaurant industry, you're kind of married to your job. And so I wanted to kind of have the best of both worlds. And like I said, I'm from Illinois originally. And so my whole family went to Illinois State University. And so I kind of knew that I wanted to go there. And when I was looking at programs, I kind of just found family and consumer sciences. And, I took those classes in my high school as well. And so I loved my family consumer science teacher. I actually, when I was doing my college things, I went to go back and kind of watch her, and so I just kind of fell into it, honestly, and I loved it in college, and I just continue on with it. So
it kind of to be punny is a perfect recipe of your culinary background, but then also of this love of like influencing and helping and teaching and younger people.
Absolutely.
What do you think kids get out of family and consumer sciences? Because not every school has it, and it is a rarity to have that classroom that you're in with all these cooking machinery and whatnot. What do kids get out of this, do you think?
I think a sense of pride, first of all, because even they get so excited when they cook things at home and they're like, oh, I made this in class. And, the other day we made muffins for the first time and my kid was like, oh yeah, I went home and made these with my mom and she loved them. And, they just get so excited. And so I think just a sense of pride of like learning, something, how to cook, even if it's just pasta or something like that. And again, just like those life skills, I'm a huge life skills person, math and science and all that is important. Absolutely. But, I feel like you need to learn how to, cook for yourself and, be there for yourself. And so that's what I think that they get out of it. It's just kind of those life skills.
We wanted to show your cooking abilities and we focused on that in the story. But what I thought was really interesting too is that both students we talked so much about your other course where you kind of teach kids how to deal with other people. Tell me a little bit about that class and how you've really shaped that, because Julie said that you have taken that what was a course and just brought it to a next level.
Yes. So it's called interpersonal relationships. And so I've been at Westfield for 4 years now. And that was one of the first classes that I started. And there was some content, there was a baseline, but I really kind of just took and made it my own. Like, I, in the videos and stuff and my coworkers, I like to make it fun and I like to make it, content that again is relevant to high schoolers at this age. And so I have been working on it for 4 years. And actually this school year is the first year that I have it finalized and that, yes. And so it's like my child. It's like my baby. Cause I've been putting time into it for 4 years. And so, I just kind of made it my own. And again, like one of my coworkers said, I like to talk about things that interest them, right? That is relevant to them, to their life. And so that's kind of how I modeled the class. And again, I made it fun. I added games and, trivia and random things. So to kind of make it more enjoyable for them.
Why is that so important to make it something that kids can relate to?
I think it's important just because honestly, their kids are going to get distracted. And I just feel like it's more engaging when it's actually material that they want to learn and that they can get, apply to their lives right now. Like we talk about, it's just about relationships in general, that class. But one of the weeks is, relationships. And I don't know, I just feel like, especially in high school, if their parents or guardians don't talk about, healthy relationships. And
like romantic relationships.
Yes, romantic relationships and even friendships too. People don't really talk about, signs of a toxic friend and things like that. And so I just think it's good to kind of bring that attention to them and say, hey, these are some signs that you could look for. And again, just teaching them those life skills.
Bjork was telling me, one of your students, she said that it taught me how to say something about the I feel this rather than
the I statements.
Yeah.
Yes. I teach them about I statements, right? If you're upset, I feel this way, right? No one can tell you how you can or can't feel, so it's it's little things like that for just communication, because it is important. Yes.
She had your course, I think it was last year or the year before, and she was like, I use this stuff daily.
Yes.
Why is that meaningful to you to know that these kids are taking what you're teaching them and adding it to their everyday lives?
Again, it gives me more purpose. It puts a sense of pride in me, like, okay, I actually am making a difference, and these kids are paying attention and they do care, and they are using what they are getting out of class. So it's very rewarding as a teacher to hear that, oh, hey, I am using this or I am cooking this at home. And so it makes it worthwhile, honestly.
I had to double check with you about your master's that you just finished last month because you just started it in the summer. How did you get this done so quickly? And I guess why so quickly?
Yes. So I got my master's through Western Governors University. And so actually in 6 months, it was $4,000 about. And so I wanted to get it done in 6 months. So I only had to pay a certain amount of money. And so I treated it as my job in the summer. I would get up at 8 a.m. and work until, 4, about when the school day would end, Monday through Friday. And yeah, I knocked it out. There were 10 overall classes. And so I finished 8 in the summer and then 2 in the school year. And so I ended up completing it in 5 months. So it was a lot of work. Thank you. But again, I'm young. I knew I wanted to continue my education. And so I just was like, let's just do it. Let's knock it out.
So how does this continue your education and move you forward in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got my master's in curriculum and instruction. And so I love, writing classes, looking at state standards, kind of creating those topics. And so how it's going to help me is just, again, planning classes, planning curriculum, working with my coworkers, being there for a support system for them, to kind of bounce ideas off of. So, yeah.
I'm not a teacher, and the other teacher said she is an amazing curriculum designer. What exactly does that mean for those of us not in education?
Yes. Curriculum design, it means looking at our state standards, right? Because education has state standards that we have to follow. And so looking at those state standards and then coming up with assignments and quizzes and, formative assessments, summative assessments, worksheets that help prepare and link to those state standards. So the state standards are kind of like the driving force of what we teach in the classes. And so that is where our worksheets and our assignments and our tests are from those core state standards. So.
And then you kind of add your own creativity to make it really hit with those kids.
Yes, I do. Yeah. And like I said, like with my interpersonal relationships, when we are talking about, romantic relationships, one of my games that I have made that the kids just absolutely love, it's modeled after Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
School appropriate, right? But so it's called Cards Against Dating. And so it's, it's just kind of like, again, those fun little ways that I can, engage them in the content, but actually still make it, educational and have a purpose. So
I think that's huge also, where maybe teenagers might be reluctant to have conversations about certain things or really want to be open to it. You kind of like get them in a fun atmosphere and get them talking.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, like they really do get into it, they kind of feed off of each other as well. And then, again, that makes me excited. So then, it's just, it's very fun.
How long have you been teaching for?
So I did 1 year in Illinois. So right now I'm at 5 years overall. And then this is my 4th year at Westfield.
Wow. I mean, 5 years overall. So you started this in the pandemic then?
I did. Yes. I did my student teaching in the pandemic. So that was interesting. And so I was in Illinois. And so they were still pretty tight with the masks and the social distancing. And so it was very interesting.
How did you know I still want to do this without really being in a, with kids? Because that was a time period where we honestly lost a lot of teachers and a lot of people are not going into education as a career. Why would you still want to do it?
Again, I just think it's the love for the kids, honestly. It's just, I had a great high school experience with my teachers. And so I just want to be like that sounding board for them, and, they come to me for advice. And, if I could just be that one guardian in that safe place for them, then I've done my job and beyond. So that's really why I like it.
If anyone's hearing this and they're thinking, maybe I want to be a teacher, but I'm not sure, like what would you want them to know? Why do you think it is such a rewarding career? Because it can be it's hard too.
Absolutely. I always say, every day is a new day. You really never know what you're going to get. And it is a very hard career. Absolutely. But it is just so rewarding, and making those relationships, making those connections with kids. It trumps everything else.
Good. Yeah. You never know if a TV crew is going to.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes, exactly. So, yeah.
Well, you have some kids there in class.
I do.
Do you care if you turn the camera around on them? And I just want to ask them what they thought of your story.
Did you see my story on?
I did.
Okay. Here, do you want to say it?
We're on a podcast right now. What did you think of seeing Miss Duda on TV? What did you think of seeing Miss Duda on TV and us barging into her class?
Proud of her. I was like, that's my bestie. I tell her everything.
Why is she such a good teacher?
Yeah, Emma.
She doesn't give us a lot of assignments.
Wait, I need to write my name.
And she's really good at teaching and explaining the assignment and the lesson plans.
True.
True?
True.
Why is Miss Duda so good at teaching?
Probably because like she gives us all the information and stuff.
The information beforehand.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you. All right, Miss Duda, I appreciate you spending some time with us because it is the middle of your class, and I really, really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything else you want to tell us or that we should know before we let you go?
No, honestly, this has been such an amazing experience. So thank you to you. I really do appreciate it. You know, all that you've done. It was a great story. And so, yeah, I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's a joy to celebrate you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, there's no doubt Miss Duda is going to do great things. Congrats again. From Wish TV, I'm Hannah Mordeau. We're going to continue honoring teachers here in Central Indiana who go above and beyond to shape students and change lives. So if you have a teacher who deserves to be nominated, please tell us all about them. Just go to wishtv.com/goldenapple. Then listen here to see who our next winner is on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The Wish TV Golden Apple Awards podcast. Nominate a teacher and learn more at wishtv.com now. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and discover even more great podcasts now on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.